Another thing I did today when I was going around Chessington is that I was thinking about like the next stage and things that I might want to do and what might I actually get to do. Um, so yeah, after I've done the Big Brother show, I think I want to go into hiding and I want to tell the general public that all I want to do is basically just nothing and just sit in jacuzzi all day and I can kind of see me saying this on Big Brother, just being like, "Yep, I just want a nice house, nice jacuzzi, and sunbathe, and then I just want to, I don't want to leave the house. I when I start telling people that I'm God, I'm going to realize that my life is going to be in danger because there's a lot of Christians that are not going to be very happy with anything that I say. I think if I tell them that I'm Christ, they'll just think that I'm mad. But if I tell that I'm a Christ and start giving them evidence and proof and stuff like this, they would, from my experience, people will say whatever they can to try and disprove me, to try and prove that I'm not God, not especially Christians. They have their belief and faith in Jesus. They've committed themselves to this fictional delusion, and they will tell themselves anything to make it seem like I'm not the truth. And I feel like there are going to be a lot of people that would love to take it a step further or two. And if I do start telling them evidence, they're going to think that I'm the Antichrist and want to kill me. And yeah, so I can see myself when in the Big Brother house saying that, when I come out of here, I just want to go in hiding and live in like the underground or whatever for a very long time. But yeah, in reality, I don't actually want to do that. I feel like um, Britney Spears, I don't know what's going on with her. She's acting completely mad and it looks awful in her Instagram page. I don't know how true it is or not. Technically, my uncle has been on lithium all his life, and I feel like it's killed all his brain cells. So um, maybe there's some truth about what's going on with maybe she has gone mad. I just don't know. But it's true that she seems to just be in the house doing nothing all day. And I've even heard today, saw an article that her kids have gone to Hawaii and didn't even like bother to see her before they've gone or something. I don't know what to believe when it comes to this, but I do know that I want to have a similar kind of thing, only without the crazy. So I want to maybe just every day just do a post of maybe make a video just like every now and then a video of me being in some sort of house and just being like, yep, I've just done nothing all day and just making out, I sat in the jacuzzi all day and it was very nice. And just making out that I've got like this really boring, crappy, shitty, well, not shitty, but just a really plain life where I don't do anything. But in reality, I would love to have a sort of simple lifestyle show where I just have like a small group of camera people who just like film. Like when I was going around the zoo, I felt like there were so many interesting things or interesting conversations that I was having in my head. And it would be like, oh, it'd be nice if there was someone just filming me and then I could talk about what it is that I feel like I say interesting things and I feel like um, it's this is another conversation that I was having. So I like Jacqueline Glenn. There's an Instagrammer, but I noticed that when she was dating this rock guy, I didn't like the guy very much. No, I thought he was only after her because I don't know, he wanted more fame and more attention. I felt like he didn't really like her for the right reasons. And when they fell split up, that's pretty much what she said. And I stopped liking Jacqueline because I felt like he was a bad influence to her. And so for like a whole year or something, the whole time they were together, I think they even got married or whatever. It seemed to be just out of the blue and very bizarre and a bit strange. But yeah, I feel like he was a bad influence to her. And then she's found this new partner, and he's much better and much better for her, much more similar to her, and she's a much. I think I haven't really seen that much actually what she's doing now, but I feel like it's a much better relationship, and in the same way, I would love people to know me, but not the general public. I'm not talking about the general public. I'm talking about just like a smaller group of people. because I want people to be like me and I want people to be similar to me. And I feel like if people kind of know me or have conversations with me, you can get to know me better. And, I noticed with the Maroon 5, he had the odd conversation about that song, She Will Be Loved or something. I'm sure he said that he told a story about it basically. And it just, stories like that make you feel like you get to know the people a bit better. And so it's nice, a good relationship is where you have good communication or where you can understand each other. And okay, if you're making some sort of simple life video, you can't hear what the other people are saying, but people get to know you and they get to see the sort of things that you're thinking or saying. And yeah, if I am going to have me and my boyfriend the camera, then it's I feel like my influence can rub off on anyone who watches it, and they could be more like me too. And I like making people that be more like me. um and But yeah, I just, that's kind of what I'd want to do, like actually have a bit of a life where I actually do things, actually go places, um, but do it all on a very low scale down, maybe even wear a wig so that I don't look like I am, hide the fact that I am who I am. I mean, technically, if I'm only going to be on Big Brother for a fairly short time, people might not even really know what I would look like with brown hair or different colored hair, because I think when Britney Spears started changing her hair around, it's almost like she became recognizable in lots of different colored hairs. And so that could be an idea where if I'm on that show, only look a certain way. That way, if I did start changing my hair, people might not recognize me or something. So that way, I could still have a life whilst pretending to the world that I'm, living a life similar to that of Britney Spears, which is just cooped up in a house looking, hopefully not mad, but yeah, if people, like a lot of people think that God kind of does everything and controls everything, and they have this completely false view of God. It's the God that they want to believe in, but it's just so not the truth. And I want people to know the truth, but I feel like I also want to be the exact opposite of whatever this God is, that this fictional God that they've created. And so if I sort of joke about how I am God, but I just want to just sit in a jacuzzi and do nothing all day, it's kind of getting my revenge at all the people who think that I do everything, because I'll just be like, no, actually, I do absolutely nothing. And if you're not happy with the idea of God doing absolutely nothing, well, I don't give a shit because I'm not happy with what you do. So, I feel a bit childish when it comes to things like this. It's been so long that I just want revenge in every way I can get, really. Um, but yeah, if I you know I guess the reason why I'd want to do absolutely nothing is really so that these people who start believing that I'm God through the singers, they're going to start chasing the singers and all the songs and trying to find God through the songs, and it's going to start driving them mad. And eventually they're going to be like, we want to know Christ. Christ is on earth. Why is Christ not talking to us? And then I'm just deliberately just going to not do anything, deliberately not talk to them, and just deliberately not talk to them for a very long time, so that they start like actually wanting to know who I am, and then just being like, no, I don't want you to know. I don't want you to know who I am, because I've been trying to get people's help for years, and no one's helped me, and no one's tried to put me on TV, and I couldn't have gone to you during my tribulation, so why should I help you through your tribulation? They've been ignoring me for 10 years, and I want to do the same thing back to everyone. But at the same time, I also want to have some sort of life. I don't just want to do nothing, because then I just might as well be dead if I'm just going to do nothing. So but yeah, it would be nice to have a little TV show where I can actually imagine that I'm talking to people that are on Earth, but in like 1,000 years' time. So if I can imagine that they're my boyfriend, not just people in the Earth now, but people, I can imagine that I'm trying to talk to people that are going to be on Earth in like 1,000 years' time. And I'm sure people in 1,000 years' time, if Earth hasn't been destroyed by humans, would want to know what the creator was like. And so but yeah, I don't want the public to see any of this. I want them to just be confused as to why there's no information about me and why they can't find any information and why I'm not doing anything other than doing a sort of Britney Spears copycat without the crazy, um, where I'm just doing nothing. um, but yeah, that I think is a plan. And also, um, something else happened in the Russell Howard show. Right at the beginning, there was this person who just started shouting out, and Russell didn't hear he or she said, and was like, "What was that? What was that?" And then he or she said, "I love you, Russell," and then he was like, "Well, how much?" Or was it "I like you"? It might have been "I like you." Was it "like you" or "I can't remember"? It might have been "I like you," but I really like your show or something. I think it was that actually. I really like your show. And then he asked, how much? Is it a little bit or do you really, really like my show? And then he responded by saying, I like your mother more. And I just think that was a little bit of a weird comment to make because I don't know. I've never heard anything about his mum. Like his mum's not famous or I haven't seen it. And I feel like the spiritual meaning behind that was that maybe spiritually that person kind of knew that God the Mother is actually in the audience and hearing, and you know, I like Russell, and I think he was one of I think he was one of Martin's grandchildren actually right at the beginning, not children, but grandchildren, grandchild, one of Martin's grandchildren. Um, that's Adam's grandchildren. But yeah, I just I feel kind of connected with him, and it was weird how they shouted that out because it almost felt like spiritually he knew that God the Mother, the mother of the world, was actually in that room hearing what he said. But I bet though, if I would have actually confronted this person and said that that was the spirit, that was the real reason behind what you said, you know, because I'm the mother and you were talking about me, you know, I bet if I confronted that about him, he would be like, no, 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 you're definitely not, and he would deny it and stuff. And it's just things like this happen kind of all the time. Like people say things with one intent, you know, maybe he did generally like Russell's mum and has found out about her through whatever means. Um, but yeah, and if I confronted, you know, that's what he would admit. He wouldn't put it to me in any way, or probably not believe me or anything. But really, I think there is something there because things like this happen all the time. And but yeah, it's really bizarre how it's bizarre how things people can do things without realizing it. And I feel like it's the spirit that's sort of talking through them almost. But they themselves wouldn't believe it. But it's things like this that make me feel like I can't really talk to people or have a conversation with them because often they say things and it brings up memories or things that I've experienced like in the recent week or whatever. And I feel like their spirit is telling me something different to what their conscious mind is telling me. And then I start feeling like I'm going crazy because if I try to tell them what their spirit is saying rather than their conscious mind, they'd probably just look at me like I was the crazy one. Um, but yeah, something else I just wanted to say.